welcome to another episode of Peel Healthy Lifestyles, where we showcase everything happening in Peel that is health, fitness, and technology. And today in the studio, we have the Brampton Meditation Center. We have Renu and we have Shailja with us today. Welcome to the studio.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Perfect. And so today we're going to be talking about meditation. And so without further ado, let's just get right into it. So ladies, what is meditation?
Meditation is an inner journey to connect to your highest, purest self. And when we are connected to our purest self, we begin to experience and truly feel our value, connect to our real self that is peaceful by nature and loving and wise and one with all wisdom.
Okay.
So when we have connected to that self, we come out of that place, then we see our relationships, our world very different.
Okay. And so why are we meditating? Like what's the purpose of meditating and why are we trying to do this now? Like it seems like a buzzword almost now.
You know, it's definitely like a way of living,
Right.
right? It's not something that you practice for half an hour in the morning or an
Okay.
hour in the week. It's a true mindful way of living. And that's another kind of buzzword, mindfulness.
Right.
And for us, meditation is true mindfulness.
Okay.
It's how to bring it into your first thought, into your words,
Okay.
into all your actions,
Right.
into what you eat, how you eat, into the way you see yourself, the way you see others,
Right.
the way you spend your time,
Okay.
your energy, how you spend your money, right? So it's that we put into everything that we do.
Okay.
Very mindful of tapping into our virtues, bringing that into our presence.
Right.
Kindness, compassion, giving, loving. So it's not something that we actually talk about, but it's a way of living it.
Living. So it's a lifestyle.
A complete lifestyle.
Right. And so that's some of the times when we sit with families and we're talking about nutrition and diet. The first thing that everyone wants to do is we want to lose weight and give me the next diet, right? And so when we start to talk to them about the diet is just a short-term solution and you need to have a lifestyle change so that it's long-term. So that's what it sounds like meditation is part of is this healthy lifestyle so that you can be a little more balanced. Is that like mindfulness brings more mindfulness to your life, right? Your family, is that what we're talking about?
Listening to your body, listening to your feelings, listening to your thoughts,
Okay.
just being self-aware. And
Right.
like you mentioned before, it has a lot of connotations.
Right.
That it belongs to Hinduism or meditation is difficult.
Right.
In fact, it's just the opposite.
Okay.
Just when we are connected to our true self, which is so natural,
Right.
and we've forgotten to how to live naturally. It's just living naturally,
Right.
like our forefathers did.
Okay.
And we don't actually even have to go anywhere to do that.
Right.
Right? And we don't need to have any rituals,
Right.
right? That's why it's so beautiful that it can be done anywhere.
Anywhere.
Right? It can be done while you're washing the dishes,
Right.
while you're driving,
Right.
while you're actually helping your children with their homework.
Right.
So it's so beautiful. It just knowing who you are, staying in those feelings,
Right.
pure positive thoughts and feelings, and then being.
Okay. Is it, correct me if I'm wrong, is it, my understanding of meditation has always been that it always starts with, okay, I'm going to close my eyes and sit in a quiet place or wherever it is, but then slowly, as you keep meditating, it's basically your life is starting to transform where meditation is almost entered every area of your life. And just the way you were just saying, it could be cooking, cleaning, I'm washing my car, or spending time with the kids. That meditation is just being mindful in whatever scenario you're in or whatever circumstance you're in. Is that the right?
Yes,
The
and
way of looking at it.
particularly Raj Yoga meditation is not necessarily sitting down in a lotus position, closing your eyes and
Okay.
chanting mantra and doing Om. No, it's
Right.
just the opposite.
Okay.
It's just going into your self-awareness, even with your eyes open, because you need to be alert and attentive to your surroundings while
Okay.
still being connected to your inner self.
Right.
So you're aware of your outer self, but you're connected to your inner self.
Okay.
So you have that consciousness that you are true to yourself, you're connected to your feelings, and from that place, then when you look out to your world, you see the world very differently.
Right. Okay. And that kind of leads me into my next question, which is, how can meditation become easy, practical, relevant to our daily life?
And so definitely there needs to be a balance of sitting yoga,
Okay.
sitting meditation. That's
Right.
a very important part of your day.
Okay. And just before you go, why is that?
Because you want to be able to go deeper into an experience. If you
Okay.
want to go to feel the experience of love,
Right.
or of peace.
Okay.
Right? It requires some silence.
Right.
And for you to be watching your thoughts and how does that make me feel and questioning and reflection, which is very hard to do if you're doing something else that can cause distraction. So
Okay.
you need to balance a few minutes a day throughout your day to
Okay.
take that time and sit, but also take that feeling, that experience, and then
Right.
take it into action. So you need to be
Okay.
balancing both of that.
Okay,
Mhm.
understood. And so, how is Raja Yoga or just meditation different from other forms, I guess, of meditation?
So what we said before, it's not necessarily sitting down with closed eyes. Actually, we practice open eye meditation.
Okay.
So initially, the students who are first learning, they may close their eyes, but we highly encourage them to keep their eyes open. So they get used to initial distractions, but eventually, as they get stronger, the mind settles down, becomes more stable and peaceful. So there's no need to close the eyes. So you are in that meditative state even while you're walking, moving, you're driving.
Right.
So that's how it's very different.
Interesting.
And of course, like I said, the balance is necessary. The sitting down yoga is absolutely important. So we practice that first thing in the morning and last thing in the night before going to bed.
Right.
So that grounds the soul first thing in the morning. So that becomes your root for the whole day.
Okay.
Then you have that power, that strength that you need to interact for your day to day with relationships, with all kinds of obstacles and issues that come along.
Okay.
That you have the strength to combat that.
Right.
And
Right.
then in the evening you just relax and give everything, and just settle with a relaxed mind, so
Okay.
you can have a restful sleep.
And I grew up, being kind of forced to meditate.
Okay.
And it was closed eye kind of meditation. And then it was only during that time that you could experience, perhaps, but then throughout the day, you were not carrying those feelings throughout the day.
Right, right,
So it's very,
okay.
very important to connect,
Right.
to feel, and then experience it in your world.
Definitely, I think that's. I would probably share that same experience because it was. I think most people, when they think of meditation, it's always a closed eye, lotus
Right.
position. You see that the famous, the Buddha pose, and that's what everyone thinks of as meditation. But keeping your eyes open, it makes a lot of
Yes,
sense, and
yes.
kind of carrying that feeling over
And that's
throughout
what,
the rest of
to
the day.
your question, that's what makes Raj Yoga so practical.
Right.
Because if I can stay in that feeling
Right.
whilst doing everything,
Right.
right? That's how I'm actually going to transform.
Okay.
That's how I'm going to
Understood.
see myself as peaceful. I can see you that way. That way I can stay in my self-respect and give you respect.
Right.
Right?
Right. It's perfect. I know that you've already kind of answered some of the my next question, which is, what are the benefits and how can one learn and what are the steps involved?
So starting with the self, you start to see yourself in a highly empowered way. You begin to take responsibilities for your actions,
Right.
for your thoughts, for your feelings,
Okay.
and stop blaming others. And then coming from that place, then you see your relationships very differently.
Right.
So there is respect in everybody, in every relationship, and you see the value in each and every person.
Right.
And that's a beginning place for a more harmonious, more empowering relationships.
Perfect.
And
That leads like directly into the next question. Uh, I guess a lot of people will be watching and really kind of analyzing and thinking about meditation. So obviously one of the benefits we know of meditation is the improvement of our life, but how does it improve our relationships?
Such a great question. So for me to take responsibility for myself
Right.
and the choices that I've made and maybe the hurt that I've caused, right?
Right.
So there's definitely a place for forgiveness. Forgiveness of myself, but forgiveness of others.
Right.
There's acceptance, there is compassion, there's kindness, and there's definitely an openness to learn.
Okay.
Right?
Right.
And that you are here to teach me something. I'm here to learn something.
Right.
So there's a benefit
Okay.
in the scene.
Okay.
I appreciate you, I see you, and I see your virtues. It's a
Right.
very different way of parenting. It's a
Right.
very different way of doing a marriage. It's a very different way with when you're at work, right? So it's definitely coming from a place of love.
Okay.
And I see you and I appreciate you.
Right.
And that you make a difference in my life, right? And that you are
Perfect.
totally responsible for your own feelings, and nobody else is responsible to make you happy,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely. That's I think it's a really key point, which is the empowerment process, where my background, I had kidney failure, And so dealing with kidney failure 18 years ago, going through a transplant, hip replacement, there's a lot of, it's a real mental battle. And I know just my experience of kind of getting over the hip replacement and the 2 years after, and mentally just kind of always replaying that I've had a hip, I got to take it easy, I got to do this and do that. And then 2 years later, one day I woke up and all of a sudden I wasn't thinking about hip replacement, and then my life kind of just started to move on.
Right.
And I think that's, I think what we're really talking about is,
Because you could think about your mistakes.
right,
You could think about how someone hurt you.
right,
They
right,
shouldn't have done that. It's not right. And
Right.
maybe they shouldn't have done that. And
Right.
maybe it wasn't right. But how long are you going to keep on giving energy to
Right.
that?
That's
Right?
right.
At what point are you going to forgive them and forgive yourself so you can actually move on?
right,
So what Raj Yoga is true freedom.
Okay.
What I find.
Whether you're reliving your past,
Mm-hmm.
thinking about your past hurts and re-energizing them,
right, right,
or you think about other people, how they hurt you.
right,
Same thing. So they may hurt you once, and you're
Okay.
hurting yourself
right.
a million times over by keep replaying that
And
in your
replaying
mind.
it, right, right, definitely. There's that reminds me of the parable of the yogi who's by the ocean side in the water.
Right.
And it's about, you know, are you still carrying
Right.
carrying that woman across from back in the water, right? And just kind of replaying that same incident over and over, and whether you did it or you didn't do it, you're just
Right.
kind of replaying that and reliving that and
Right.
awakening that same.
And there
those
could be a
emotions again.
weakness in the body, right? There
Right.
could be something, but you don't have to let that take you over, right?
Right.
You get to choose who you want to be.
Right, right.
And that's such a great message to teach our children,
Okay.
right? And anybody who's labeled something is that you don't have to live by that label, right?
Right.
So you are far more than what society might think that you are.
True,
Right?
very true. Okay, and I think that kind of leads right into the next question is, how does meditation improve our interactions with our children? So why would we, how does it help?
I think for me, right now I have two children, two
Okay.
boys, and 12 and 14.
Okay.
And coming into Raj Yoga when they were very young,
Wow,
3
okay.
and 5, is that how to raise them in a place of, with so much peacelessness, and how to raise them in peace.
Right,
So to really create that culture of virtues and values.
okay,
So always using that is that you are a powerful soul, you are full of virtues, and when there was any issues,
Right.
I said, what virtue do you think that you could practice right now? Oh,
Okay.
you know what, if I would just a few more minutes of patience,
right,
you know what, things would have worked out. I said, yeah, great, and then they would go off and play,
Right.
right? And so you're always coming from a place of empowering them as
Right.
opposed to fixing their problems,
Right.
right? So they come home from school still having issues.
Right.
Okay, how could you have done things differently, right?
Okay.
Because we're here to empower them, to guide them, to inspire them, and I can't teach them to be courageous if I don't practice courage.
right,
I can't teach them kindness if I don't practice that in my whole life, right?
Okay.
So to know that they're on their own journey,
right,
right? That they're here to fall, to learn, to make mistakes,
Right.
just like I did, and I still am. So to share my life with them in a very real way.
right. Excuse me.
And of course, children are so impressionable, and they're learning from their school environment, and mostly from the parents.
Right.
Not so much what parents say, but how they behave and act.
Right,
That's more learning for them from that. Is this matching what they're saying and what they're practicing?
right, right.
And if they don't see that they're the same, they're aligned, then they say, then I can do the same. So
Right, right. It's I'm not sure. I know that I've heard before too. Is that children learn more by watching than actually by hearing, especially when they're younger.
Definitely.
Right. Okay.
So it's
and-
so important that we at home is to really know what our values are,
Right.
and make sure that is in everything that we do, right? Because a lot of parents say, "Oh, my children, they're not listening, or they're not responsible, or
Right.
they're always on the TV or the phones." But what are we teaching them? If that's what you're doing, and
Right.
if that's what you're encouraging,
Right.
then that's what they're doing. But if you're encouraging the baking and being creative and bike riding, then that's also what they do, right?
Okay. And it all kind of comes back to being empowered, and that when I'm empowered, then I can empower my children.
For sure.
Right. Okay. Understood.
Because so is the seed,
Right.
so is the creation, right?
Right.
If you have a very, very powerful seed,
Right.
then you're going to create a lot of powerful, right?
Right.
Seeds,
Exactly.
right? So,
Perfect. Fantastic. And so, just kind of following along with the question is, how does meditation impact children? I know we've kind of touched on this already, but is there any other, aside from what we've already kind of shared and what you guys have shared?
So we in Meditation Center teach living values
Okay.
to children, the parents, or one of the parents who have taken the course. So we have a program for them,
Okay.
and it is very practical, and we also encourage a lot of the educators to join,
Okay.
so they can also bring it in their school and their programs,
Right.
introduce that
Okay.
in their classrooms. And we had several teachers who have been experimenting with that, and they've had
Fantastic.
a lot of success with that.
It's I remember reading in Europe they use a lot of meditation and yoga during school time to incorporate and to create more of an environment for learning and more inquisitive.
If you ask any
learning.
teachers right now, the biggest thing is discipline. They're
Right.
not listening,
Right.
so much wasted time.
Right.
And so many programs are there because of the discipline. But if we took the
Right.
first few minutes
Right.
of the day
Okay.
just to connect to who they are, why
Right.
they're here, to set an aim, let's do this next 40 minutes, with
Right.
compassion, have 2 minutes of a guided meditation.
Right.
How much more would we be actually learning, teaching, and
Right.
enjoying that,
Right,
that process?
exactly.
So it's really about connecting
Okay.
before learning and teaching and recognizing them and appreciating them.
Right.
So definitely what's missing in the children is that vocabulary, that discipline of what are you feeling,
Right.
right? That's
Okay.
so important to be asking them, to be checking, to help them recognize
Right.
a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of frustration before it gets to the
Before,
point
right.
of it's getting overwhelmed, they're getting into fights, right? They've
Right.
caused harm to themselves, to others.
Right.
So it's always coming to, and teaching them how to recognize that and what are the words, and maybe when they're young that you'd have pictures,
Right.
right?
Right.
And you'd have stories, say, how do you think that person feels? How do you think they felt when you did that?
Okay.
Right?
Right.
So having to be modeling it all the time.
All the time. Right.
Mhm,
Right. Perfect. And as you're integrating into the schools, do you come with situations where, or maybe teachers, educators, this is, this is not our religion, or I'm this and I'm that. We don't believe in meditation, or there's a religious context to meditation. Has that ever come up, or is that
We
something
really
that
go
you
into the
address?
schools, as Shailja was saying, with living values.
Okay.
And the Peel Board has values, so we
Okay.
really are saying, let's live our values.
Right. Right.
Right, so if
okay.
your value is respect,
Right.
which is one of the Peel Board values,
Right.
then you have to be living in your self-respect to be
Right.
able to give respect.
Okay.
So what does that look like? So
Right.
let's embody that, right? Not just one day of the month as an assembly,
Right.
but let's embody that all day,
Right.
every day,
Every day,
right?
right.
And not just at school, but also at home. So let's
Right.
help the parents be on board, let's help the teachers,
Right.
and let's help the kids.
Perfect.
If you know, in Japan, most schools, they start their day with meditation, 15-20 minutes of meditation.
Okay.
And you see the children in these schools have a higher concentration, and they have academically they are a lot far excel than most American students.
Right. Okay.
So it's seen the success rate in Japan just with meditation.
Okay. Is there other countries? We know India, we know Japan. Are there other countries where meditation kind of really takes the forefront, especially in the educational system that you know of?
I think there are different schools all over the world actually
Okay.
that are really bringing meditation, mindfulness into their schools,
okay.
right? And into their classrooms, into their eating. There's a school here actually in Brampton that they practice at lunchtime.
Okay.
It's called Monk's
Wow.
Lunch.
Okay.
And so they eat in silence.
Wow. Okay.
Grade 1, 2, and 3.
Fantastic.
They
Wow.
have
okay.
other
1, 2, 3.
educators that come into their class because they just want to have a peaceful lunch. And so we
Amazing.
introduced,
Right.
my children were going to that school, we introduced guided meditation in that classroom,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And how beautiful for the kids to take that break, to eat their lunch in silence, know what they're eating,
Right.
have that mental break,
Right.
and then go out and play, and then come back to learn.
Right. It's fantastic empowerment tools for
Mhm.
kids. Perfect. And so I know we were talking about meditation, and we're talking about awareness and mindfulness, empowerment. So why are we focused on really healing the world? Because that's really what we're getting to. So if I'm a part of my ecosystem, and I understand that changes that I make help to kind of change the world around me, why are we focused on healing the world?
We're not directly focused on healing the world, but as I change and my thoughts change,
Right.
so those thoughts vibrate
Right.
from me, they emanate from me, and they spread all over the world in the
Okay.
atmosphere.
Right.
So as I become more pure, more peaceful, I feel more energized, then I am energetically connected with the atmosphere, with the nature, with other souls.
Right.
So those vibrations are spreading everywhere. So even if I'm not directly wanting to heal the world, I will
Right.
heal the world.
Indirectly. Indirectly. Okay.
You know,
understood.
like if you were to wake up your child very lovingly and
Right.
have a very sweet breakfast with them and
Right.
empower them, a few minutes of meditation, and then send them off to their day.
Right.
And all parents did that, and all teachers came to school because they actually loved
Right.
loved being teachers and felt that that was a very honorable position,
Right.
right? And they got that support from their men. How different would their day be,
Definitely.
right?
Definitely.
And if everybody came to work that way,
Right.
right?
Right.
That'd be a very, very
Be a
different,
different world altogether,
Mhm.
different school for sure. And so when we're talking about this, we say the world and we talk about the world. What does the world really mean? What does that look like?
For me, I think it's, first of all, you have to take care of your own world. You have to take care of
Okay.
yourself,
Right.
right? So you have to take that time out of your day
Okay.
and connect yourself. You have to take care of your own household,
Right.
right? That's very, very important. You have to know that whoever you're connecting to, that those are the relationships that are very important. And if
Okay.
I empower somebody else and treat them with respect, then they're going to have that experience and give that to somebody else.
Okay.
So your world could be your community, it could be your workplace,
Right.
it could be your family,
Okay.
right?
Right.
And then that is going to extend out to everybody. So your world is actually, it is everybody,
Right.
but at least change who you're connected to. So
Okay.
when you say, oh, the whole world is my family, we are all brother souls, then we should actually live that way, right?
Right.
Having somebody be your brother soul is that you have love for everybody.
Right. Right. And that kind of leads right into my next question, which is, how does meditation really change one's perspective of the world? I know you've kind of already touched on this.
So again, it comes from I am a soul, and as my original quality
Okay.
is love, peace, and wisdom.
Right.
When I connect with that quality, then I see everybody as a soul, regardless of which country they come from, which nationality,
Right.
which culture, caste, creed, is irrelevant.
Right.
Which faith, which religion they practice,
Okay.
we are all brother souls. And when I really start to see everyone as a soul, as my vision changes.
Right.
So in Hindi we have 5 rhyming words.
Okay.
As is my smriti, my awareness,
Right.
that will be my drishti, my vision.
Right.
And as is my drishti, so
Right.
will be my kriti, my actions.
My
And
actions.
as are my actions, kriti, so will be my world, my srishti.
Right.
So it starts, the seed is my thoughts, my
Right.
awareness. When I come out of that, that's how I see the world and myself.
Right.
And this is how I perform actions. And the world responses to that.
Okay.
So then we see everybody as a one global family, as brother souls.
Okay.
And that everybody has their part to play.
That's right.
Every single soul has a very special part,
Right.
right?
And I think that leads directly into our next question, which is how can one make a difference? So now that we know that we can do this and we're empowered, now how do we make that difference?
By changing yourself first.
Okay.
Cannot change
Okay.
the world unless you change yourself
Until you
first.
change yourself.
We want our children to be better, then I must be responsible as a parent or teacher
Right.
to change myself first, change my
Right.
behavior,
Right.
my attitude. So when I start with me first,
Okay.
then that will spread and that will impact others,
others.
everybody around me.
Okay. Like the butterfly effect.
To
Basically.
choose honesty, to choose courage, right?
Right.
To make that choice. That no, at this very moment, I'm going to choose to make a powerful choice, right?
Right.
And that choice will lead to the next choice that will be powerful, and the next choice that will be powerful.
Okay.
And then it just becomes your natural way of living.
Right.
Right?
Right. And I think that's very well put because I would say a lot of people who we reach out to and people that we work with when it comes to diet, nutrition, and fitness, they come from a point where they're not really empowered and they don't really know what they want to do or what they're supposed to be doing because they've just kind of gone through just growing up and just going through the system, school, working, mortgage, kids. And so it's kind of really finding that balance and that center of where they are. And everyone's in a different place, different state, different periods of time of their life. Everyone's on their own journey. So to be able to really focus and just say, okay, wherever it is, I'm comfortable with this right now, but if I like it, I don't like it, I know I'm empowered enough to change that. And I just by making different choices and incorporating different mindfulness activities or meditation into their life can change
And
it.
healthy living, like, it takes time.
Right,
And you need to carve it out. Say, this is
Right.
so important to me. Like, for every day we cook,
right,
like, fresh meals every single day for us and our family, because
Right.
it's really important for us to eat clean, to eat
Right.
healthy,
Right.
to be very mindful of what we're cooking, how we're cooking it, and
Right.
how we're eating on all
Right.
those levels, right?
Okay.
So we're not eating with devices, we're not eating with the TV, right?
Right.
It's so important. So does that take time every day? But yes, that's something that we carve out of our schedule
Right.
every single day because we see the benefits of it,
right.
right?
And you know what, you just kind of touched on something that just sparked something. which is, have you found in your experience that there's a diet or certain foods that help meditation, and there's certain foods that may hinder the meditation process? Is there?
Definitely.
Absolutely. Foods that are closest, what we call it sattvic in nature,
Right,
which are whole foods, grain, natural foods.
right,
Anything that is without meat
right,
is absolutely sattvic, because anything with meat is clearly violence, and
Right.
we are that's violence to the self, violence to the environment,
Right.
violence to the animals.
right.
So that is totally against meditation.
Okay.
It hampers the meditation. So, and of course, cooking in the right consciousness is important.
Right.
So if I'm cooking when I'm angry, I'm upset, I'm depressed, that vibration will also go into the food.
Right, right,
And then we ingest that, then what effect that has had on the mind.
right,
So food also, the vibration we put in the food and we ingest that food has three different vibrations. One that actually sustains the body,
right.
one that sustains the mind,
Okay,
and one that sustains the soul.
perfect.
So we're taking energy at three different levels. So when we eat outside and we eat in fast food restaurants,
Right.
and most of them are cooked by people who are highly stressed,
Right.
they're trying to make a living.
Right.
So what kind of energy they're putting in that food?
Right,
Right, it's
Right.
an energy
So
of
we're
greed,
mindful.
right, right,
as opposed to, if your mother was cooking or you're
Right.
cooking for your family,
right.
it's a very different energy.
Right.
Different energy in the
Definitely.
food.
That's what they always talk about is mom's dishes always taste better because they're made
Yeah.
with love, right?
Right.
So definitely.
And but
It's the
there's
energy,
a truth to
truth
that, right?
Of course, yeah.
So if you were to
Definitely.
cook with those feelings,
Right.
and not be on the phone and not be distracted, but also eat with those feelings,
Right.
right?
Right.
Because you could have this organic meal but then eat in anger, then you're not going to be able to digest.
Right,
You're not going to be able to take those nutrients.
right.
So it's what you are eating and how you're cooking, but also very important how you are eating that. Because
Perfect.
that is going to allow you to digest, feel sustained,
Right,
right?
right. Perfect.
Mhm.
So we're kind of coming to the end of our show. What I'd like to do is maybe if you can share how people, viewers can get in touch with you.
For sure, for sure.
So we've been in Brampton for over 20 years, and we have our flyers here, and we also have a website, bramptonmeditationcenter.com, so they can connect it through the website and through our phone, 905-230-0224. We are open for any discussions.
Okay.
We give a free introductory course. That's many students have given testimonials, been very, very successful.
Okay.
And we have given over 5,000 courses in Brampton
Wow.
so far. And we are well known, and we have done very ground root services here.
Okay.
And we are in the community everywhere. We are well known for our service at Brampton Farmers Market,
Perfect.
Carasaga, Carabram.
Fantastic.
Where we are.
A lot of health and living shows, and
Right.
and we're looking forward to being part of, the Peel Health Show
Right.
coming up next week.
Right.
So yeah, that's probably the best way to get more information is to
Okay.
take a look at the website. We have some pretty interesting articles on there, and to register through there.
Right.
It does very well, so it gets pretty full, the course. So
Perfect.
if souls are interested, we highly recommend they sign up.
Fantastic.
And and if you have any questions, email is probably the best way
Okay.
to get us.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Perfect. So you heard it here, viewers. The information for the Brampton Meditation Center will be posted below in the YouTube link. So please reach out to Renu, Shailja, reach out to the Brampton Meditation Center and avail yourself of meditation and really try it out for yourselves and really experience the benefits of meditation. I know confidently I've tried it. I know I do it, and after the first time you see a difference. You can feel it
Totally.
right after
Yeah.
the first time you try to meditate.
And you want to sustain that every
Right.
day.
Right.
And you notice the days that you don't,
Right.
right? And that's important too. That's part of the journey, right?
That's right.
So yes, so
Definitely.
to start your day like that, take a few minutes throughout the day, and to end your day like that,
Right.
it's worth living.
Perfect.
Mhm.
Good. Okay, so we're going to wrap up our segment today, but we will have a guided meditation as well that Renu and Shailja will lead us with, and then from that point, then we will break. So I want to thank you for tuning into the Peel Healthy Lifestyle Show, where we focus on health, fitness, and technology. I want to thank Renu and Shailja for joining us in the studio today.
Thank you
Thank
so
you
much.
for having
You're
us
welcome.
here.
You're
My
welcome.
pleasure.
You're welcome. Thank you. And so, thank you. Join us as we go into guided meditation, and then we will see you next week. Thank you for tuning in.
I relax my body and turn my attention inward to the center of the forehead. I, the soul, reside at the center of the forehead. A peaceful, loving being, a point of light. Absolute qualities of love, wisdom, and power. I connect to my true self. My natural being, who I am. My religion is peace. I radiate peace into the atmosphere. Feeling light, feeling powerful. I send love to my brother souls. To the nature. To all living beings with whom I'm eternally connected. I feel my eternity as part of just this physical body is just temporary. I am one with the universal consciousness. Just a being of love. I see my value, and I share that with all my brother souls. Mercy and compassion for those who are in sorrow, who have lost hope. I send them love and light. I am powerful. I am immortal. Nothing can destroy me. Elements cannot harm me. physical costume is my interface. I use this to experience and express my pure self, my positive qualities with others. I radiate love and peace.